and then welcome from my side also to all the remote speakers. If you want to ask a question, please do this during the session because it can be interactive if you want. As a remote attendee, please raise your hand so that we can see this. And in the room, I think we have this huge microphone box. I'm not sure how the right name for this. Yeah, so a few words from my side to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Enders. I'm MVP for Office Apps and Services, and I started my career in, I think, 2005, and I had my first hands-on the beta version of SharePoint 27, and then I grew up with the different SharePoint versions, and Office 365 came up. I was exploring this for my company, and nowadays I'm working as a managing consultant for all about Microsoft 365. I have some focus topics like Microsoft Teams and the Power Platform, and I love the idea behind mixed reality. So I have my own HoloLens, and I'm checking out a lot of stuff there. And I was really impressed about Microsoft Mesh, as it was called out at the Spring Ignite, because some meetings get a lot of more interactive, because you think we're in the same room and see each other in a little bit more the used way. So that's about me. And I want to talk to you about collaboration 2.0. So what do I mean with this? If you see this movie cassette, you may get an idea about my age. So if I think about my childhood, I was watching a lot of movies with these movie cassettes. Yeah, and if I think about if we didn't have a movie at home, what did I do? So I was talking to my parents that I needed to watch this movie, and we had to go to a movie library, and then you had to rent this movie, you came back home, you watched the movie, and if you forgot to give it back at the right time, you had to pay some extra money. Another situation could be that you want to watch a movie and it's not there at the movie library at the moment because some other persons are watching this. And if you think about this today, then it's a little bit different, because nowadays think about Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever. I only have to decide that I want to watch a movie, and then I can stream it. So no way to get out of home, renting a movie, giving it back later on. There's not the option that I cannot watch my movie at the time I want to do this, because another person is watching this. That's a lot of better user experience, I would say. Another aspect about collaboration can be that our communication has changed. So I remember the time when I was writing letters and I sent via mail, and after sending it, I didn't have an idea what was going on. So is it still on its way? Did it arrive? Is it read? Or is the recipient already answering me? Or is it on its way back to me? I'm not sure. I have to wait and I have to wait. And I love to get really fast feedback. So think about this today, and we all know Microsoft Teams or other instant messaging tools. Then you know, oh, okay, I see that another person read my message. I see that he's answering. He stopped answering me, maybe he's thinking about one thing. I know I received my answer. And if he doesn't understand me, then we can get it very easily. And maybe we start a phone call. And if I think I had such a phone at home, or I have to say my parents had such a phone at home. It was not for such a long time for me, but we had it. And I hated it that if I wanted to call one of my friends, then I had to use this one phone in the living room of my parents, and I couldn't leave the room, so my parents could listen to everything I was talking about. If you see a smartphone, so for me here in Germany, many kids have a smartphone when they go to school, and they can call their friends, so they can do this from their room. There are no parents anymore who could listen what they are talking about, so you have a lot of more freedom about what you are talking about. Yeah, and if you think about our business, then such a smartphone is so much more than a phone. So a smartphone is a little PC. We have a PC every minute of the day with us if we want. And we can for sure call another person, maybe in an audio call, maybe in a video call. So I love video calls because then you get feedback what the other person is thinking about, and I know, okay, he looks in a way that he maybe doesn't understand me. Oh, I have to explain it a little bit different. But it's a little bit more than only this communication part, not only the instant messaging. It's also about how do we work together, maybe on documents. So if you see the stack of documents, I think about some of my customers who are already are working with real stack of documents. And if you are looking for special information, then there is not a search engine. There's a human search engine. So there is a person who has to have an idea that the information you're looking for is in the middle of the stack or nearly at the bottom. I have to look, not the right document, so maybe we put it back and we have another try. And what about if there's some confidential information in it? I have no idea where this confidential information is. Yeah, and I have to lock confidential information. So it's better to take the whole stack, put it into the locket, and then I have my key and I have the power to get the information. Yeah, and then somebody asks me, I need the confidential document ABC. And I say, yeah, here's the key, please have a look. And at this moment I have to think about, is this the right way? So, is it right that if a person looks for this special confidential information that he gets access to every document in it? I'm not sure. So we have the option to get a digital version of this. So forget this real life stack of documents. We could store the documents in a digital format, and then we can decide who gets access to which part of the stack. And this is the whole thing. So if we think about our daily use cases, my use cases are related to document management very often. So I'm writing a concept, I'm writing a proposal, I work on the documentation and so on. And I'm not doing this on my own. So I'm working together with other persons. So maybe I need some input or somebody has to review my information. And working together on a document can be very easy if we have a common document location. And this is where I think about SharePoint and OneDrive. OneDrive, if I want to start on my own, that's my personal document location. Then I have the option to share this with other people. And SharePoint, if I start with a document and I already know that I want to work together with other people. Yeah, and one other area is all about information exchange. So we were talking about instant messaging and phone or video calls. This is some kind of ad hoc information exchange. But I have also a need for spreading company-wide information. Maybe in a network, maybe in an intranet. So I need some tools there too. And if I think about my daily business, I'm working on a lot of projects, and there you need to manage tasks. So in some projects, I'm the project manager, in other projects, I'm the consultant or the software developer. And in every project, I have some tasks. Some projects, I'm only interested in my own tasks. In other projects, I need to get an idea of the project status, and I need to track every task in there and see, okay, this colleague is working a long time now on this task, so maybe you need to have a chat about this. And if I'm working in a project and nearly at the end, we have lessons learned, sessions, and so on, and then I wanted to share my knowledge. So I want to store anywhere that we learned in this project, what we can do better in the next project. So sharing knowledge is always an issue. And last but not least, if we talk about collaboration, then supporting business processes is also very important. And as you can see here, I put the different logos there. We have a lot of tools there in Microsoft 365, which can help us. So in my company, for example, as I said, I started my career with SharePoint. So SharePoint was one of the first tools we used here. We used it for document management and later on to create some kind of project team groups. And after we did this, you all know there was Microsoft Teams showing up a few years ago. We said, oh, that's cool. We have our project team rooms, and now we get the communication aspect on top of it. So we can have a chat, and it's an instant chat, so everybody can see what was going on. Even if I'm a new team member, and the conversation is going on for the last 4 months or so, I can see what was talked about there, and then I can start working on this project, and I have the whole history right there. It's so different to working without these tools when you say, okay, I'm a new team member, and maybe everything was exchanged via email. I was not a recipient of this email because I was not an employee at this time. So this is so much easier. And what did we do in our project team rooms as well? We were working with tasks, and we had to SharePoint task list. Now it's so much better that we have Planner right there. So Planner is our tool if you want to have a task board. We need the task board to track our tasks. We are using Planner if we want to collect topics for our next meetings and so on. And I will show you some ideas about this teamwork in the live demo as well. To make it complete here, we also have Stream. So Stream as a video platform, but maybe also as a tool where you can store information of workshops or meetings. And everywhere where you want to improve something, we are talking about processes that can start with the approval process. This can be a special business process in your company and you want to improve it. Maybe you want to create a chatbot to get some easy information. You don't want to open a special application for this. Then you can go with the Power Platform and the different tools in there. If you have a look at Microsoft Teams, because this is the main focus area for this session, I don't need to talk about what are the basic functions of Teams. So I am sure most of you are using this and you know this better than I could explain this on the slide. So I only wanted to talk about use cases here. On the left side, you see all about collaboration in different ways. So on the slide before, I was talking about working together in a project, but you can also collaborate in an organizational unit or in a team, and you can also collaborate with external users. This can be your customers, your partners. Think about freelancers or whatever. Every time when this is a person which is not an employee of your company, then it's an external person you could collaborate with. And then you only have to decide, do I want to have my team room in my tenant or in the tenant of the external users? So for me, for example, I'm working with a lot of customers, and we are talking about this at the beginning of the project, because some customers prefer that they own the team room, because then every information is right there and they don't need to switch the tenant for sure. And we, as a service provider, we need to switch. But that's the collaboration part. The other part here is, if you want to create or support communities and you're not using Yammer, then you can do this with Teams also. And so I think so-called, it's very easy, events, that's like we are doing this here now, start with a Teams meeting, it can go up to a live event where you have a streaming service, and it can go to a webinar. That's one of the newest features. So you can plan a webinar, you can design a registration form, and then you can do your webinar. And maybe if you're using Dynamics 365, then you can do the marketing aspect later on as well, so you have a smooth way to do this. But this is a special edition. There's also the option to support digital learning with Microsoft Teams. So, but I would say let's go and see what we can do here. And that's where I go to my demo tenant. Don't look exactly on the date, that's not so important. For me, it's more important that I talk about what we can do. So I start with this team here, the CWS developer team. That's my team. And as we started exploring Microsoft Teams, we did it like most of the other teams. We had only a team with the general channel. And the general channel was messed up after a few weeks because we broke everything in the chat right there. And then we talked about this because some of us were not so happy with this and said, I don't find the right information. And every time when somebody gives you the feedback that he doesn't find the right information or that it is too hard to find this one, then you should adjust a little bit. And as we got this feedback, we talked about how can we do this better. And we were talking about different channels at the moment. But it was not so easy because everybody had a little different opinion which channels are needed. But we got an idea how to work this out. We said, okay, most of our messages in the general channel are related to our daily stand-up meeting. So we created a daily stand-up channel, and this was a channel where only our meetings took place. So if somebody had a situation that he could not join the daily stand-up, then before the meeting he wrote a message right in there, and he said, okay, I cannot join the daily stand-up, but here is my update. Maybe if he had a problem, he described the problem, and so we asked the other ones, did the daily stand-up, they read the message, and they were talking about, Victor wrote that he had a problem with this project task, so maybe we can help him. And so we could answer him, mention him so that he got a notification, and everything was fine. And in some cases we said, okay, we are talking about a little bit more stuff today, as I would say a normal stand-up meeting would contain. So maybe we record the meeting. Yeah, recording a meeting is a good issue because we were doing a lot of workshops for a time, and even nowadays we have workshops on a regular basis. So we are thinking about what are relevant topics. We want to share our knowledge. So we said, okay, we need such a channel like research and trainings, and there everybody can post a message. I found some new information. Here's a cool video tutorial or whatever. So you can share this information. But we also plan our workshops right there and do the recording. And so maybe a workshop about Power Apps and AI Builder was taking place a few weeks ago, and I don't remember what we are talking about in detail, but I remember some buzzwords. And then I can say, okay, I watched the recording, and as the recording is stored in stream, I can go to Microsoft Stream, can have a look, and then you have a transcript that's created automatically, and you can use a search. If you remember the right buzzword, so it depends. If you remember the right buzzword, then you see, okay, here in this transcript, he found this buzzword, and I know that I have to start the recording at minute 23, for example. So then I can skip the first 22 minutes and I start at the right point. Yeah, that's about this. And the other ones, as you can see here, we have some channels which have a prefix. So this one, for example. And that was a great discussion for us as well, because my team, you could compare it with an organizational unit. We are working together in a lot of projects. And we have some projects where only my organizational unit, so my team is working on. And we have other projects where people of other organizational units are working together with a few of us. And we said, okay, if we have a small project and only we are working on this project, do we need a separate team room, a separate project room? I'm not sure. And if we have a project with other people from other organizational units, do we need a project room? I think that's a little bit easier, because if we think about that, the other people we are working with, that our team can grow up because we have to give access to everybody who needs to get access to this channel. We said, if there are other people working together with us on a project, then that's a separate team room. If only we are working on this project and it's not so big that we need more than one channel, then we can create a channel here. And that's the idea behind this one. So we said, okay, this bill and CV management project, it's very small, it's only 10 days. We will store a few documents and it will be closed very soon. So we said, okay, we create this channel, and to mark it as a project relevant channel, we said we use this prefix P. That was the idea behind it. We didn't need so much stuff. There was not the real task management, only document management, a little bit chat, and then this project will be finished after all. And then maybe we can archive our documents and we can remove the shadow. Another aspect, as you can see here, we have this locket symbol here. We have two private channels in here. And yeah, I have to say I created these private channels. So these private channels are about that I needed a place where to think about some strategy. So I want to prepare something for my team. And I want to discuss this with my manager before I talk about this with my team a little bit more in detail. So I need to prepare it. And I said, okay, my manager already has access to this team, because if I'm on vacation, he needs to communicate with my team, and he also should be informed if he wants to do this. Here, and so I said, okay, a private channel, he gets access, I get access. We talk about this, and if I say everything is fine, then we can go and publish this in the general channel, for example. Because after creating all these new channels, we said, okay, now our general channel is only for organizational stuff. So if somebody says, okay, I'm sick today and I want to inform the team, then you can write a message right there. If I have some public organizational stuff, I can post a message there. So it's only a few use cases for this one. And same is for me in the management channel. So management channel is also private. I use this for organizational stuff, so I have to do some controlling, and I have a lot of Excel sheets right in there to talk about. Yeah, and so this is my organization unit team. What about this one you see up here? This one, Conet is the name of the company I'm working for, by the way, and I created an org-wide team right there. So I know that there are some limits, but for our company it's working. And I said, yeah, we have an intranet and we have it based on SharePoint. But as I created this org-wide team, the SharePoint intranet was in classic UI at the moment. And I got a lot of requirements that different employees said, I want to have push notification. I want to get the news in our intranet. I want to get access. And that was even before Viva came up. Yeah? And I said, okay, let's create such an org-wide team. And we have channels there for the main departments who are providing information. So we have some corporate news from our managing director. We have HR, IT service news. So IT service news means if we have a new update for migrating different business applications, or if we have problems in the network, and so on. And we have marketing news, so this is also internal communication, but also if we have some events out there that every employee is also informed about this. And then we created a flow which collects or gets the updates when there's new news in the intranet, and he created a news or post in Teams here. So I got the notification that there's some new information, and I didn't need to leave Teams to do this. Today with Microsoft Viva, it's a little bit different because we could also create an app which integrates here as a menu item, and then I can access my intranet right from there. But you have also the option to go with, we were talking about well-being at the beginning or before the session, with Microsoft Viva Insights, you have also a dashboard for yourself to think about what you are doing, how you are feeling today. And I love the way when we finish our day and it's asking you, what are your remaining tasks for today? What do you want tomorrow? So do we need to reschedule something? I see all my meetings, so I know, okay, tomorrow my day is starting at 8 a.m. and I love to start at 9. So every time I have meetings at 8 or 8:30, then it's good that I know this the day before. And then I have the reflection part to think about what I was feeling today, if there was something, what I should do in another way tomorrow that I'm feeling better. And that's also a good function right in there. I love this, especially from the perspective of a team lead, because as you can see here, there is a praise function. And it's there for a long time now. But if we think about the praise function, I'm not sure if I give the feedback always directly in the right way. And maybe some days are so busy that you don't think about this. In Viva Insights, you now have the chance to set some kind of a reminder. That's not the reminder, I should send a praise to Victor, for example. No, that's only a reminder. Think about if you could send a praise. If you do this, as I did this year, this kind, then you can do something as a good feedback for another person to warn them. And if it's posted in Teams chat, the other team members have the opportunity to answer on this. So maybe I say, oh, okay, you did a good job in this project today, and some of the other colleagues say, oh yeah, this one was great, and this was really cool. And another team member will say, oh, I didn't hear of this before. What did you do? Do you want to explain it a little bit more? Or I have the same problem. Can you please help me? So it's changing information, but it's also getting better and better in teamwork. And one last thing before I go to the slide, because we have a list of all the stuff we were talking about this. If you think about that, you have a message, maybe I select one of these ones here, then I would recommend the translate function. If you are working in a multilingual team, and in my team, for example, we have people who are talking German, other persons who are talking English, the other ones in Polish. So then you may say, okay, we have a conference and we are talking English at everybody, but in some cases, even if you have a problem, then maybe it's a little bit hard to write it in another language than your mother tongue. It was this option, you could, or I could write it in German, and then the other person can translate in the language he's using in Microsoft Teams. And that's really cool. I know it's not, maybe it's not the best sentence right there, and somebody who's writing in plain English and is really good, then it would appear a little bit different, but it's a great function for multilingual teams if you have somebody who's not so familiar with English at the moment. Another important function is all about email. You see here, share to Outlook. So if I'm talking or if I'm having a conversation in Teams and I need to give some of this information to a person who doesn't need to have access to this team, then I can use the share to Outlook button, because then my conversation is stored in an email. He gets everything he needs to know without having access to everything in my team room. And we have also the option the way back. So if I get a message from one of my customers and I want to store it in my team room, I'm doing this, for example, with one of my customers. I write an email after each meeting we have, because email is the communication tool we are using there. It's not using Teams or any other stuff of Microsoft 365. And I get this answer, and I say, okay, I want to store this in my team room, and I can do this, for example. Maybe think about one of the channels here. I'm going here with the research and training channel, or no, I'm using the project channel here. Then you can say, I want to get the email address. If you're doing this, then you get here this email address. In the advanced settings, you can also decide if you want to have some restrictions who can send an email to this channel. And I copy this email address and store it as a quick step in Outlook. So every time when I get an email and I want to forward it to my channel, I can do this. But I could also use this email address and send my email directly to a channel. Then it's like a new unread message. When your email is received, we can talk about this. Everybody can read this message, even if he was not an original participant. And if you open this email, then you download it and you can answer on this one. And that's cool if you are communicating with your customer via email. you made the bottleneck because you only received the email and no one other of the project team members could answer. Here in this situation, say, okay, I'm forwarding this email. Every team member can have a look, can work together on a solution, and then somebody of us will answer. So here, what did we see? We were talking about collaboration in a distributed team. Distributed team may use discussions and maybe announcements. So announcements are highlighted posts. We can work together on shared documents because SharePoint is part of our team room. We can add external team members and internal team members. That's when we collaborate with external users. So there's no real difference, I think, between external and internal users if you are working together on the main stuff. You can use a group calendar. We didn't see this, but it's definitely an option if you want to save common meetings with each other and you start with team meeting right from your team room out. And you can also integrate other tools. We did this for a special time with Jira, for example. Meetings, we saw the channel for the daily stand-up meeting. We can record meetings and workshops. And channels, I would use them for different use cases or aspects. And I would start with a small version, so I should know which channel to use for which situation. And then it can grow up during the time. So remember, we start with the general channel, and then we have a channel for small projects with a key prefix. We are using private channels for strategy and management. And last but not least, the general channel only remains for organizational aspects, like I'm feeling sick today, or I'm in the office or in the home office. It depends what's the major situation. And there are only a few open questions, because how do you connect with other teams, or how do we know that other teams are existing, and how do you find employees with the same interests? And at this point, that's some kind of excursion here, I know, but I want to share this with you. At this moment, you should think about if you want to use Yammer and Teams together. So if we have a short look, these are use cases I was talking about at the beginning. If we look at Teams, then you have a lot of bullet points here for working together, for the collaboration, for small or teams who are working very close to each other. Yammer is a company network, so that's more collaboration on a company level, and you have a lot of knowledge management in there. With the options that you can use the Teams, the app for Yammer in Teams, or that you can use Beaver connections to integrate your internet. Maybe Yammer is part of your internet. Then you have the right combination to work together on the different levels we have.
Hi, Nicole. Sorry to disturb you. Oh, you're about to finish, so we are about to.
Yeah, I'm very close there.
Thank you.
That was it. That was a wrap up. Thank you very much, Chris. Are there any questions?
Any questions? No, but they can always reach out to you. You have your contact information.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this amazing session.
You're welcome.